July 1st, and I thought I would sit down and chat with you guys. I have been pretty inactive on YouTube for a couple of weeks now. We just got back from the last thing I pretty much did on YouTube was my last competition in Anchorage, Alaska, which I won the overall. So I took first and then won the whole competition. So I thought I would catch you guys up to speed as to what I'm up to for the rest of the year. So I know I had mentioned on my Instagram that I was doing a Road to Nationals series, and that is still an idea, but it is not going to be happening as soon as I thought. So let me go back. So this year was pretty much my first year really like competing in the NPC and kind of figuring it out. My last 2 years that I've competed, I only did 1 or 2 shows, and I didn't really like think about the show the first half of the year, and then I just like prepped really hard for like 12 to 16 weeks, did the show, and then kind of like forgot about competing. So I don't really consider that like putting all of your effort into competing and really like just, you know, putting all your effort into it. This was really my first year that I like really truly competed in my own head. So what the plan was at the beginning of the year is we set out all of these shows to do, and I wanted to just get experience in the NPC before I like tried to do anything else, you know, before I tried to like go to a national show, before I tried to get a pro card, if that was even my goal. I really even wasn't sure at the beginning of this year. So we set up all these shows to compete in just to get experience. And hi, can you see him? Yeah. And so we did our first show in April. So in order to prep for the first show, we started prep January 1st. So we did a show in November of 2017, and then we started prep January 1st. So we had like the month of December off, and that was it. So we've been prepping for, at this point, 24 weeks. So it's been 6 months of prepping, very strict, and I, at this point, have done 5 shows. 2 of those runs, so actually 4 of those shows were back-to-back. So I've done 2 back-to-back peak weeks, and both times after those back-to-back peak weeks I've gotten very sick. So those are difficult. I would not recommend them to people. Your body does not like that. But I, at this point, feel like I've gotten a very good experience. I've been with 4 different tanning companies. I've done 3 or 4 different, actually I think every promoter was different for each show. So I've been with 5 different promoters. We went to 5 different states for all of these, so I got to get the vibe of like every place's kind of deal. I've been in front of almost all of the IFBB judges, just because the shows that we also went to, we were pro shows. When I set this up this year, I ensured that they were all shows that we could both compete at, and since Brandon is an IFBB pro, they had to be pro shows. So I'm pretty sure I've been in front of most of the IFBB judges this year as well, and except for Alaska, which was just an NPC show. The reason we went up and did that one was because we've both lived there. We love it there. We had a ton of people that we wanted to see. Brandon's daughter was up there at that time, and we had some scores to settle from 2 years ago, because I won that show. I won a show up there 2 years ago, and I remember people just being like, that was a fluke, blah, 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 let's see if she could do it again, yada, 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 she only won because of this and that and this and that. So I kind of felt like I had a score to settle up there, and I went up and won the show again, so take that. Just kidding. And so that's why we went up there, and we also wanted to spend just some extra time up there because it's beautiful in the summer. So that's why we did that one, but Brandon couldn't do that one. So coming back, because I won that show, I have qualified for nationals. And my initial mindset was to kind of keep the train running, you know. You're already lean, you've already been doing the competitions, just keep going. There's a national show in 5 weeks. Let's just hit it up and see what it's all about, get on the national stage. I really didn't have any intentions of getting a pro card. I just kind of wanted to do it. And as the weeks went on, so that was 3 weeks ago, we have, has it already been 3 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks since I won that show. I have found it very difficult to stay on track. My mindset isn't there anymore. My body is kind of done. I'm getting, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting over a cold that I've had for a week. Like, I don't get sick. Like, being sick for me is very, very unusual. I'm usually never sick. So I was just sick in May, and now I'm sick again in June, and that was kind of my body's way of telling me, yo, you gotta calm down, you're done. And just doing, it was another double peak week, so it was back-to-back shows, and it just takes a toll on your body, plus traveling and all the germs and the grossness in the airports. So yeah, so I realized that my like motivation wasn't there anymore. You know, when you started this 24-week prep, your motivation is high at the very beginning, and it's really high. And I remember it being really high for the first couple of shows, and these last couple of shows, it's been slowly getting less and less because you're just dieting all the time, and you don't, it's not like a 24-week prep leading up to one show. Like, when the first show hits that you do, your calories don't go up from there. So you're pretty much peak weeking like calories, and then you get like a slight bump, but then you're pretty much low for the next 4 shows. So it's not like we did 24 weeks of prepping and we slowly gradually brought our calories down. Like, they were down for that first show, and they pretty much chilled there the whole time. So we didn't get calories added back. You know, we've been pretty much like depleting for 2 or 3 months now. And both Brandon and I, you could just tell our like mental fortitude was just done. Like, we are both just like exhausted. We're both just out of it because we've been doing it for so long, and we've been doing it at such a high level for so long that for us it was really hard to just like keep that going, especially since this is the first time we've done this. I hope you can't hear that. Something just kicked on over there. But for us, this is the first time we've ever done so many shows in 1 year, so it's just, it was a learning experience for us, and that's what we wanted to do. So he did 4 pro shows, and I've done 5 NPC shows in the course of 6 months. So yes, it's been very intense. I guess the whole point of this video is to just get across that we are done competing for the rest of the year, just because a few things like struck us as red flags. One of them for me was getting sick all the time. Like I said, I don't get sick, so being sick is very, very unusual for me. So the fact that my body is like continuously getting sick, and it happened in May, now it's happening in June, like it's that close together, for me, that's a big red flag. Like I even like told my employers, because I obviously had to take time off work, they're like, what's going on? They're like, you never get sick. And I was like, I know, it's my body just telling me that I'm ready to take a break. I'm ready to get back on normal food. Another thing for me was I could tell I was starting to get an unhealthy relationship with food. We had multiple scenarios where we were depleting for a couple of days, and then like my mindset just went out the window, and I was like, fuck this, and I would binge out on stuff that was in the cupboard. And then the next day you're back down to like depleting and low calories and low carbs. So I mean, I felt that starting to happen more and more, and the whole point of this competing thing isn't to be so restrictive that I'm going to create an eating disorder, you know? So I kind of felt, hi sweetie, I kind of felt that starting to happen, and that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm not trying to create an eating disorder just to have an amazing body, just to compete, just to get on stage. You know, that's not, there is a healthy way to do this, and it's all about taking the time and building your metabolism so that you can handle this, plus feeding yourself the appropriate amount of food. And mentally, I just felt myself going in a very bad direction of binging and dieting and binging and dieting. So that was another thing for me. It felt like it was getting to a dangerous point, and I'm just not okay with that. I don't want to create an eating disorder for this. I would like to compete long term, and that's not the way to do it, because what am I going to do in 4 or 5 years when I'm done competing and I have this massive eating disorder? Like, that's awful, and I'm not going to do that to myself. So that was another reason for me, which is a pretty big one. Another reason was the beginning of the year, like especially Brandon. That guy is like mentally solid. Like, he is good to go. Like, he is at the gym consistently. He is on his diet consistently. He doesn't waver, like nothing. He is like solid, and he's been that way since we met years ago. And that's why I loved him, because he was able to pull that out in me. Just being so strict on your diet, so like tunnel vision towards what you're working towards, and like nothing gets in the way. You know, you are just like heading towards your goals, and you're just good to go. But like the last couple of weeks, both of us were just like on our diet for a day or two, and then we were both like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to eat food. I don't want to eat diet food. Like, I want to go eat Mexican food. I want to go eat ice cream. I want to go get donuts. And then we would. So, and it was happening every 2 or 3 days. So for us, that was a big red flag, because like, we are able to be motivated. We are able to have that motivation and that drive and that tunnel vision. But for some reason, both of us were just like not able to muster that anymore. And I think I attribute that to the fact that we've been doing this for 6 months, extremely strict, and we've done 5 shows, and it takes a lot to do that. I mean, it's pretty intense. It's a very extreme measure for the first time. I can't speak on behalf of people that do this year after year, because I think you learn and you do things better, and you space your shows out more appropriately. But this is the first time that we did this, so we're pretty exhausted at this point. So that was the third thing. We just couldn't keep our motivation. We just couldn't, hold on to that drive to push. And so that was a big red flag for us. We kind of just wanted to be like, why are we doing this to ourselves if we can't stay motivated? Like, we were fighting more often. That's another thing. We've been fighting pretty consistently for the past, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks. And I think that's just because we're both done. We don't want to do it, but then we feel almost obligated to do it, and then so we're just kind of unhappy, and we're just very like short-tempered, and so we're just like bickering a lot. So that's not fun. And it's summer, like it's supposed to be fun. And then another thing, what was I gonna say? Oh, another thing for me was cost. It's very expensive to compete. It's very expensive to travel and compete. You know, it's very, very, very expensive. We have racked up quite a few shows, and it's been very, very pricey, and we planned on doing like 4 or 5 more shows, and like just thinking of the cost of all of it is a lot. So that's a very easy reason to back out of a show. So that's there always. Like, cost is super pricey. I actually didn't realize how expensive a national show was until I looked into it. They're extremely expensive compared to normal shows. So for me to put that cost out there for a national show, and not have the proper motivation to go into a national show, it didn't compute. It didn't work very well. You know, I just wasn't like, oh, that's a smart decision. It seemed like a very stupid decision to pay that much money just to go to a national show to like see how I do. Like, when I go to a national show, I want to be confident that I am going in there and I am going to win my pro card. Like, I want to be a contender. You know, at this point, with the lack of motivation, the lack of drive, I wasn't confident that I was going to go in there and put the best package on stage. And it wasn't the goal, you know, it wasn't the goal this year. The goal this year was to compete in as many NPC shows as I can, and I wanted to gain experience. And I did that. I did 5 shows, 5 different promoters, 5 different states. I got a lot of experience. So I've gotten a lot of stage time. Like, my posing has completely transformed into something 100% different than it did at the first show. My physique has totally transformed in this 6 months, and that is awesome. So I've learned so many things about dieting and peak week protocols and water protocols and carb cycling and what I need to do to get my body lean and what I need to do to get my body hard and what I need to do to just put on the best package. So that for me is a giant win. That's what I was going for. At the beginning of the year, that's what I wanted. I just wanted this experience. I want to be able to coach people through this, and I'm the kind of person that I don't like to be coached. I want to do it myself. So the best way to do it yourself is to do it yourself and get that experience. And then now I'm confident I can like coach someone through it. So that was the goal. And now the goal is going to be to hit a national stage next year. And that's exciting because all I had to do was qualify for the nationals this year. And that was the goal for the last 2 shows, and I got it. So now I think nationals is such a big deal, and honestly, turning pro in bikini is hard nowadays. Like, the women look fucking fabulous. Like, they're so lean and shredded, and like, it is just not like it was before. Like, turning pro in bikini, I feel, is a very difficult task nowadays. So I think that I need to be putting all of my effort into that goal. And this year, that wasn't what I was doing. That wasn't the point. So I think going to a national stage would be a waste of money. And it's a lot of money, so I didn't want to waste it. I think my body was telling me I was done. And now we are going to shoot for it in 2019, which is extremely exciting. And, you know, this is how it should make you feel. It should make you feel extremely excited to do it. And before, it just felt like a task. It was starting to get really hard. It was just starting to get super draining, and like I was just missing out on everything. and that my body was just done, and that my life revolved around the gym. And like, I love going to the gym. I actually enjoy diet food, but at this point I was just not loving it at all. So we're taking a step back and we are going to grow. I remember at the beginning of this year, like when I started dieting, I was like, I feel like my body wants to grow. I just like wasn't losing weight properly. I just like, my lifts were super intense, my pumps were super intense, and I was like, I feel like my body wants to grow. And here I am going into a 6-month cutting phase. So I'm really excited to now go into a growing phase. Like super excited about it. So that is what we're gonna do for the rest of the year. We are gonna go into a growing phase. There might be like some mini cuts here and there just to keep my body weight in check, because I have a specific weight that I need to stay under, just because my legs take a lot to lean down. So the goals are to just not let myself go crazy. So we're going to go into an improvement phase, which is extremely exciting, which means I get carbs again, which means I can lift weight again, I can feel strong again, I can just kill it at the gym again. Like, my lifts have been so weak, and I've just felt so weak for the past 2 or 3 months. So it's extremely exciting to go into a grow phase and just improve multiple things. Multiple things. So that's very exciting. And then we are going to shoot for national stages next year, which is awesome. So yeah, I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys because I felt in limbo, because I wasn't like telling people on social media yet, because I wasn't like 100% decided. And then Brandon and I 100% decided like a week ago that we're just done and we need to improve. We both have had multiple judges' feedback on like what we can improve, which is amazing, because we're just like going into this improvement season as motivated as we went into this cutting phase. You know, it's exciting to have specific things to work on that the judges have said this and that, and now we're going to turn that into something and then come on stage in 2019 and just like kill it. So we're going to just put like a whole new physique on stage, and I'm very excited to do this process. This is actually the first time that I am now doing this process. So I would say this year was like the first time I've pretty much done like a full cutting phase for 6 months, and now I'm really excited to like have the proper motivation to do a full like improvement phase. I've never done that before. So I'm really excited to like put all my energy into that. And grow my physique the way I want to, and then hop on stage in 2019 with a brand new physique. So that's exciting. I think a lot of competitors need to go through these stages. I think a lot of competitors, especially women who obviously are not born with muscle, they need to go through a grow phase, and you can't grow while you're in a cutting phase. So I'm excited to go through this growing phase and actually build muscle. I think lifting heavy is so much fun. I think eating food is a ton of fun. So it's going to be very exciting. But I wanted to keep you guys up to date on what is going on with my life. I know I said I was going to nationals. I know I said I was going to the battle in the desert in 3 weeks, but it's not happening. We are still going to go to the national show because Brandon has a lot of clients competing at the national show, so we are still going to go and support, and that's going to be tons of fun. And it's always motivating to like see that level of physique on stage, so I'm very excited to go watch it. But that's it, you guys. We are taking the rest of the year off. We are going straight into an improvement season. You know, I'm excited to give you guys full attention again, because now I will have the strength and motivation to record a lot of fun videos for you. I have a few on deck with a couple of workouts, some meal prep ideas, and a lot of stuff like that. So I will still be uploading, probably even more so now because I have the motivation and carbs in my life again. And I think that's about it. Brandon is probably waiting for me right now. We're going to head to the gym on this beautiful Sunday, and then we are going to grocery shop, and then we are going to head to my parents' house for a barbecue. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Brandon's daughter is in town for the next week, and that's been a lot of fun. We've been able to take her out to dinner. We've been able to enjoy some food with her, and honestly, when family's in town, it's really hard to diet, let's be honest. So we're very excited to do that. If you guys have any ideas or any questions or want to talk to me about this, please comment below. I would love to chat with you. I would love to interact with you. That sounds like a lot of fun. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate you if you actually got to the end of this ramble, because it's pretty long. So thank you guys. I'll see you in my next one. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.